Hey there, future celeb, and welcome to How to Be Famous with Whitney Euland. I'm your host, Whitney Euland. Now, I'm a big believer that the world would be a better place if more good-hearted people were able to make a massive impact. And if fame is calling to you, then there is an audience for you, and I'm here to show you how to find it. In this show, we are diving into the art of becoming a self-made celebrity. And no, you do not need $1 million ad budget or a team of talented agents. You already have the power inside of you, and I'm here to show you how to unlock it. I'm here to help the talented artists, creatives, and influencers tap into what I call celebrity energy so that you can become the magnet for the opportunities, fame, and success that you know that you were born for. But we're not here just for fame's sake. We're about making a positive impact, sharing your unique voice, and ultimately connecting to like-minded souls who also want to make a massive impact. So join me as we explore the stories, secrets, and strategies to help you shine brighter and leave your mark on this world. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and entertained, because this process is really about turning your dreams into a reality and finding the audience that is obsessed with you. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and together we will embark on the journey where I show you how to be famous. Hello, future celeb, and welcome to the How to Be Famous with Whitney Euland podcast. I am Whitney Euland, and I'm so excited to be here. I feel like it has been a moment since I have been on the podcast by myself, which I think actually probably doesn't reflect y'all's experience of being on it, but I've been doing so many interviews that we're going to be sharing, both with clients and also with some professionals that I'm really excited to share with y'all. So we're trying to drip those out, but for me, it is always just a treat. I love this podcast. Y'all are my OGs, and we have so many new listeners in here. So if this is your first time listening, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. This is a safe space to admit that you want to be famous. I remember the first time that I told my friend, my bestie, that I wanted to be famous, and she was like, yeah, but not like famous, right? And I was like, no, like famous. And she was like, yeah, but not in like a everyone knows who you are and you're full of yourself kind of way. And I was like, yeah, no, not that I'm full of myself, but yes, that everyone knows who I am. And it was really this moment of realizing that it is, it's so taboo to want to be famous. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today, and about how to break through those limits that you have. See, the fun thing about fame, and like I've worked with clients at every level, from, first starting out to making a solid living doing what they love, to like red carpet, like celebrity, like stars, right? And the fun thing about this is that the work is all of the same. It's just at different levels, right? That's why I have a 6-step process, the fame formula, that I really like teach my clients, but it's really like a rinse and repeat process. I like to think of fame as similar to like playing a video game where it's like new levels, new devils, right? But it's really about using that process to hack your brain, rewire your nervous system at every single level of your growth, so that you can step into new levels of feeling safe, being seen, because really that's what's getting in the way from you creating more and more levels of fame. So the thing that I want you to consider is that when you become famous, when you become more famous, it does create a quantum leap in your life. Now, what do I mean by that? If you're familiar with, manifestation, you might be familiar with this term, but even if you're not, I want you to imagine, like, if you were to just close your eyes and imagine like the most famous like fame that you can possibly imagine, right? Like whether you're sitting or you're standing on a red carpet, you're doing press tours, like whatever that is for you. Maybe it is just hitting that 1 million followers. Whatever that is for you, I want you to just realize, like picture what that looks like for you, and then notice what's happening in the other areas of your life. My guess is, because this is what I've seen after working with so many artists, creatives, and influencers, is that everything has changed, right? It's not just that you have your normal life, but then you also like show up on Jimmy Fallon one night, right? You're also living in a new home. You're also maybe in a dream relationship, or maybe, your family treats you differently, hopefully for better, right? But people in public start treating you differently. People who know you treat you differently, like in your existing life. And then all of a sudden you have access to new things. Now, if you're like me, this sounds amazing, right? You're like, yes, that is what I want. I'm so excited to like buy my house on the beach, and I'm so excited to jet set around the world and all of those things. And yet that's your soul, right? Those are your intuition. That's your calling, right? but your brain does not perceive that much change happening that quickly to be safe. That's why we hear about, these one-hit wonders, or I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but so many artists, like specifically musicians, their debut album is so much stronger than their like following albums. And the reason for that is because once you get to this new level of fame and things start to change, that's when your brain wants to self-sabotage. That's when all of a sudden it's like, again, it's new levels, new devils. There's always going to be new levels of fame to tap into. And what I hear so much, and especially from my clients who have already created like wild success, is they're like, I thought that once I hit X, Y, and Z, then like I wasn't gonna have any issues. Like I even remember like thinking, for me, like even with like an amount of money, right? Like I was like, oh, if I was making X amount of money a month, I would never have any problems again. And that's just not true, because we're humans, we're wired to evolve, we're wired to change. And yet our brains are afraid of change, especially if it's happening really quickly. And again, with fame, it can happen really quickly. You can blow up overnight, you can catch a big break. And yet, if you haven't laid the proper foundation, then you're going to get to that level and just be miserable, and you're going to be stuck, and or you're just going to sabotage it, right? I was just coaching one of my clients, and she's creating a following online, and at first that level of visibility that she was after was like, oh, it would be amazing if I could get a viral video. And she did that, and then her nervous system was like, no, I don't want to do that again, right? And then we worked through it. We worked through the 6-step process, and then she was like, well, I want to create a video where I'm like, you can actually see my face. It's a viral video where it's about me. And we did that. And then her nervous system freaked the fuck out, right? And then she was like wanting to like quit, give up all of this. And so we, again, went through that 6-step process and then started again. And then she went after it, and she created this post that was so raw and authentic and exactly the kind of content that she wants to be making. And it blew up. And then again, her nervous system was like, let's go back, right? The reason for this is, again, our brain is afraid of change, but second, our brain is really afraid of exposure and of the vulnerability that comes from that. And even though like this client of mine is getting started in her social media following, that's the same thing that happens with my artists, creatives, and influencers who are already at the top of their game. Because what happens is then they get to this point where they're like, a lot of the time, and it's always the same. So I'm going to go over, there's 4 different relationships that you have to work on if you want to make sure to not get stuck and to not self-sabotage and to continue to grow. So I'll share those in just a minute, and they'll make a lot of sense to you. But basically, like I was just talking to someone who has created a massive amount of success and wants to continue to grow. And yet now she has all these voices in her head. She was saying, I came from absolutely no money, and now I'm living the life of my dreams and I feel guilty. Why should I want any more? Right? She's like, it feels icky, right? To be around my family and see that like I've outgrown them, right? Or things like that. And those are the kind of, again, that's what I'm talking about. It's these new levels, new devils. So whether it's, no matter what kind of new visibility you're creating, your brain is going to want to run away from it. And with the first client that I was talking about, who's just starting her social media account, something that we had identified, and this is super common for a lot of my clients, is that she kept kind of tapping out, right? Like she would get to a certain, or another one of my clients, they were saying that they always hit that like 10K follower account and then they like plateaued, right? And a lot of the time it's like, then they would end up deleting their account, or they would get a viral video, delete the account, and then start over, right? Like, and then like kind of self-sabotage for a while and then get back on the horse. That's your brain's natural wiring. That is your brain. Your brain is doing its job, because our brains do not want to change too quickly, but we also have this really important survival mechanism to not disrupt our interpersonal relationships. And so if you think about like the way that we've evolved, right? We've evolved from cavemen and women, and a caveman or woman, if they were exiled from their community, they would need to find their own food. They would need to find their own shelter. They would need to go out and make sure that they like weren't attacked by a bear. If they were like stranded, then they could end up like, I don't know, like slipping and then like getting injured and being left for dead, right? So we have this really, and like that instinct kept people alive, kept our species alive. So our brains think that that's really important. Now, that did keep us alive, but it's no longer serving you, right? As an artist, creative, or influencer, you have to be able to go outside of the norm. A celebrity is literally someone who the rules of society do not apply to. And I think that we could look at that as a negative in terms of like, oh, like, you know, a lot of people, someone commented on my post, she's like, don't worry, I'm anti-celebrity. And I was like, oh, babe, you're in the wrong place then, because while I get that, like in the past, that has been something that celebrities have felt like they don't have to deal with the rules. And that's, I think, the maybe like the shadow of celebrity or the dark side of it. But I don't know if you've noticed, but if you look around, like our society is not doing that great. Like I think, I mean, and I'm not one to always just like fearmonger, but I think that like a lot of the rules that of conventional society should be challenged and should be like looked at. And I think that we should have more people breaking through those. And of course, there's systemic issues that need to be changed. There's policies, there's things like that. But a lot of it, like, and our dharma, like, unless you're a politician, then that's your job, is to change these at a systemic level. But if you're an artist, creative, or influencer, then your job is to lead by example, to transcend yourself, to transcend your circumstances, and be someone where, you know, like even, you know, for me, it's like you could look at the small hometown I came from, or, you know, the religion that I grew up in, and say like, there's no way that girl's going to get out of small town Texas and then be able to like make a ton of money and be famous doing what she loves, right? And yet I have, again, the work is about becoming the exception and being the person who things work out for. And it's really about shifting your identity to become a person who is a celebrity, right? Tapping into that celebrity energy so that people are magnetically drawn to you. And all of that's going to happen when we rewire these parts of your brain. So as I was teasing out, there's 4 things that we really want to work on if you want to create a quantum leap. And the other thing is, I just want you to remember that careers really can pop off overnight. Like, thanks to the internet, that actually, like, I love thinking about, you know, even the Tube girl, right? She was just creating, and then all of a sudden she popped off, and then all of a sudden she's doing, you know, Fashion Week, and now she's like building a career for herself. So the important thing though is to make sure that you have the foundation so that your brain does not self-sabotage. I think that that's honestly why we see so many problems with addiction or substance abuse in Hollywood, is because people have created this level of fame. Their brain does not think it's safe, and so much of their life has changed so rapidly, and they don't have the stamina or the tools or the community in order to support it. And that's why I'm so passionate about the work that I do, is because I really do believe that artists, creatives, and influencers have the opportunity to change the entire world, and do that through your voices, through getting your platform, through getting your message, your healing, the alchemized truth that you have learned through your lived experience, sharing that with the world, being a truth teller. That's really what this work is about. And going against the like quote unquote conventional rules of society that tell you, maybe it's that you come from a marginalized background, maybe that it's you're a spiritual person and our Western society just cares about science. Whatever it is, there is a dharma, there is a mission within you, and the work for you. I really do believe your mission, if you have the desire for fame, it is because that is meant for you to use that and to make a massive impact. So here are the 4 things that you need to the 4 things that we want to work on in order for you to create the quantum leap. And this is what it kind of works in 2 ways. So on the one hand, these are the exact things that are going to change once you create fame. And conversely, they're also the exact things that you need to work on in order to create fame. So whether or not you're feeling stuck of creating fame, or you've created fame and your brain is freaking the fuck out, these are the 4 relationships that we want to address. So many people, I kind of joke that like my work is a little bit of a bait and switch, because I'm telling you, and like I'm not lying about this, but what I sell is I can teach you how to be famous. And yet the way that we do that is by healing, is by working through renegotiating your relationship to fear and rewiring your brain. And it seems a little counterintuitive, right? Like I've had people come to me and they're like, oh, so you help people create fame, so you're a publicist? And I'm like, no. You are embodying the person who things work out for. And so then you start just catching opportunities and people are drawn to you and things just start changing. And so the work is about, again, creating that foundation so that things start coming to you. And then also the second level is like not letting those things sabotage you so that you can create more and more levels of fame. It's so important to me that my clients leave with an actual process. That's why in my group program, the Self-Made Celebrity, Celebrity, I teach you the exact 6 steps. I was raised with a lot of religious abuse where there were people who were telling me that I needed to come to them for like salvation or for healing or for whatever. And I am very anti that. And that is why. And also as a celebrity, you have to be someone who thinks for yourself. I am not your guru. I'm not someone that I want you continually coming back to for your entire life to tell you how to run your life. I want to give you the tools so that you know exactly how to do this for yourself. And that's what we do in my group coaching program. Of course, there is the mentorship. I do coach you directly. I like to say it's kind of like you get more support from me in my group program than any of my one-on-one clients do. I get ask all the time if I have one-on-one spots. I'm not taking on one-on-one clients, but the reason for that is because working in a group actually is more successful for my clients because you finally have community support. So you don't feel like the weird one in your family or friend group who's trying to create fame, but then also you are going to, because our brains all work the same way, when you hear other people get coaching, then it's going to answer the questions for you. What happens on every single call is that people raise their hand for coaching. Once I start coaching the first one, hands go down and people are like, oh my God, that's what I needed as well, because our brains work the exact same way. Like I said, we have a 6-step process and the work is really about learning those steps. And then I guide you through exactly how to implement those. So here are the 4 things that you need to work on. And again, these are going to come down to your interpersonal relationships, because if you do not feel safe being seen in your interpersonal relationships, then you're not going to feel safe to put yourself out there, whether that is online or in auditions or whatever it is, because our brain doesn't fully understand the internet, but we do understand the implications of the internet, right? So the first one is going to be your relationship to your family, whether or not your family supported you. Of course, there's varying levels of that. There's varying levels of how well supported you are or understood. My family is extremely supportive of what I do, and they have no idea. They're like, what? I'm sorry, you're doing what all day? And so there's just different levels of creating comfort. And also, like, when you have a voice, like, even for example, like, my mom and I have very different religious views. And so it's like, I never want to say things that upset her when I talk about how she is still a part of the religion that I was raised in. And it was very abusive to me. And so we have very different thoughts. And for me, it's really challenging to speak about that because I don't want to upset her, right? That's what I'm saying, where it's like the things that come up in your personal life, they're going to impact the way that you're able to show up authentically, which again is what you have to do if you want to become that magnet. The second is going to be your relationship to your friend or peer group. So this could be just your day-to-day friends. This could be your colleagues. This could be the people you went to school with. If there is drama there, then there's going to be something blocking you from showing up authentically. The third is going to be your relationship to romantic partners and or lack thereof. So if there are beliefs that you have about your ability to be loved, your wantedness, your worthiness, things like that, then that is going to keep you from showing up in an authentic way. And then the fourth is going to be your relationship to money. Money is really just an amplifier, similar to fame. It's an amplifier of who you really are, but it's also a very direct reflection of what you believe that you are worthy of and what you believe that you are capable of. And so when we look at these 4, then that's really where we create that quantum leap and create that, like, I was going to say trifecta, but there's 4, right? But that's where we create the safety for you to then increase your level of fame or create and really scale your levels of fame. So what I want you to do for the sake of this podcast is look at like which of those 4, so again, it's your family, your friends, your romantic partners, your money, which of those do you have the most drama with? Whichever that is, that's what I want you to, like, of course, so we're going to be doing a deep dive on these 4 for the month of February, because February is leap year, which, like, we got an extra day in the year, which is the perfect time to create a quantum leap. So that is what we're going to be focusing on. We have 6 group coaching calls every single month. So for the month of February, for 4 of them, we're going to focus on one of these relationships each week so that you're taken care of from all different sides. I really want, like, in the 6-month program, if you're a coaching client of mine and you're in that program, I want you to be a different person, not by the time you leave, but every single month. Okay. And so this is going to be the thing that really, if we're looking at all 4 of these and making sure that there's where there's drama, that we clear it up and we clean it up and get you to a really good spot and help you feel safe showing up. That's what's going to create this, right? You're going to create a quantum leap, not just this month, but to be able to every single month, because you're going to have the tools, have the process. So if you're listening to this in real time and you are not a member of the Self-Made Celebrity, the link is in the show notes if you would like to join. This is an amazing time to join. You can get all of the questions you have answered there. I have, the Q&A, all of that, but that's what we're going to be doing in the month of February. Our first live group coaching call is going to be on, February 6th. Is that right? I guess I have a big old calendar right here. Yep. So February 6th 2024 is going to be our first group call on this specific topic. So if you want to join before, listen to the foundational modules. If you're hearing this later in the month of February or even later at all of the replays for this will be available in the content vault of the program. So you can catch up if you're not listening to this in real time. But I really do encourage you to join and to at this time and to not just listen, but to participate, right? To raise your hand for coaching, submit your questions ahead of time. You can always do that anonymously if that's what you prefer, but I do, because this work is all about feeling safe, being seen, this really is the training grounds for you to be able to do this. This is such a safe and inclusive space. I, of course, have like a zero tolerance bullying policy. There is a privacy policy. So not only can you not reveal anything about any other member of the group, but also that anyone else is in the group. This is a very safe space. I have never had an issue with it because I truly attract the most amazing clients. They're all people who want to make a positive impact using their voice. So that's something just I get a question about a lot, but I would love to have you in the group coaching program, the Self-Made Celebrity. If now is not the moment for you, stay tuned on the podcast. We're going to be talking about this all month, and I'll try and give as much free information as I can about this, but even just looking at which of those four, like relationships. So again, family, friends, romantic partners, or money, which of them do I have the most drama in? Looking at like who would be the most upset if I were to pop off. What would be, and like, what is my brain is afraid would happen if I would pop off? Those are some questions I want you to ask yourself. Like, what change is my brain afraid of happening? Who am I afraid of upsetting? Usually those are going to give you some really juicy details. And if you're not in my group coaching program, like if you are, then of course ask for coaching there, either on our call or on the question forum. But if you are not one of my clients, then I want you to just do a deep dive journal on this, looking at who would be upset and just asking yourself questions, right? I like to think of journaling as kind of like taking the trash out, right? Just get everything out on paper so that you can see it and decide if this is a story that is serving you, and decide if these are relationships that you want to continue in your life, if these are relationships that you want to change, and then start looking for change. Our brain has this thing called the reticular activating system, where it's kind of like a computer. It's going to look for the answers that you ask it to look for. Okay. So think of your brain kind of like a Google search. And if you say like, maybe you flagged, there's actually this one friend that every time I start posting, they want to drag me down, or every time I'm posting, it's like my friend group from high school screenshots it and they like make fun of it or whatever. So, okay, so now we have the awareness that that is the exact thing that is keeping you from your growth. And now what I want you to start doing is looking for healing that. So again, you can, of course, I have my own proprietary process for doing this. I can't say that word, proprietary process for how to overcome these blocks, but set your reticular activating system to look for ways to heal through that. Okay. So even like set your algorithm to go to work for you and show you solutions for this. I don't know if you've ever been on, there's certain sides of TikTok, right? Where it's like you search one thing and then that is going to like constantly be feeding it into your algorithm. So whatever that is for you, maybe you found like, oh, I'm actually really bad with money, or like I feel really insecure about money, or I'm always worried about it. Set your TikTok algorithms to start teaching you about money mindset. Set your algorithm to start teaching you how to heal your relationship with money and how to heal through the things that are holding you back. Also, as a little sneak peek for the month of March, we are going to be doing, I love to do this every year, we have March Money Makeover. So we have an entire course specifically on money and on mindset. If you are not familiar with money, it is just an energy, very similar to celebrity energy. If you know how to tap into one, it's very easy to leverage the other. So truly, I do think that now is the best time to join the Self-Made Celebrity, because once you change your relationship with money, again, it's a reflection of your relationship to yourself, then it's going to change the way that you create fame and your ability to create that resource of fame. So if you really want to hit the ground running, then now's the perfect time to join. Of course, I would love to have you. If you're not in a place to invest, then join our free book club. Again, you'll have the link to join our next live call, where I go live on TikTok and also on Zoom to answer any and all questions that you'll have about tapping into celebrity energy and about creating the resource of fame. This has been so lovely. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of my journey. I am so excited to have you on your have you as part of this community. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you have an amazing day. I'll talk to you later. Bye. And that's a wrap on another episode of How to Be Famous. If you found today's episode to be helpful, then make sure to subscribe and leave me a review or tag me on Instagram at Whitney Euland. Your feedback helps me to continue making empowering content. And if you're ready to be the next big thing and you want to take this work even deeper and work with me directly to become a self-made celebrity, then head to the link in the show notes where you can learn how to coach with me directly. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or gossip, then feel free to slide into my DMs. They are always open. I'm at Whitney Euland on TikTok and Instagram. I always love hearing your stories, celebrations, and wins. And remember, this is not about fame for fame's sake. It's about making a positive impact, bringing your dreams to life, and inspiring people along the way. Stay inspired, stay ambitious, and most importantly, stay true to your authentic self. Until next time, I'm Whitney Euland, and this is How to Be Famous with Whitney Euland.